All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of RareFUD Radio. My name is Bison, aka BisonTrades on Twitter. Make sure you go ahead and drop a follow. We are back with another episode of RareFUD Radio, and today we will be talking about so much. We'll be talking about Frank's return. We'll be talking about OK Beers just recently announcing that they are partnering with IMG for licensing. Huge news. We've seen price skyrocket upward after that. We'll also be talking about additions. So one-on-one additions have been popping off lately. We've seen notable drops from Adam Ape with his 4x4 drop, talking about Iron Paw Gang whitelist coming with that, as well as the Voxel Monkeys and the supply chain and Voxel Monkeys drop, and so many other additions that have hit the market. We are in mint season. It feels like we will be talking about mints that should be on your radar, and we'll be talking about all of that with my wonderful co-host. Let's bring up Joe first. Joe, how are we doing, my man?
We're doing amazing. Good to be here. Glad to be here. Can't wait to talk about the market. Love this stuff. Love you, Bison. So excited, man.
Oh
Blessed.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday. I love Tuesdays because we always have more talk of the market. We had a lot going on this weekend. So next up we have Dorian. Dorian, how you doing, my man?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? As I always say, every day's a holiday. Super excited to be here talking about the market as always.
Yes, that's right. And we got plenty to talk about. We will get into our market update real quick, talking about what happened over the weekend, talk about some market statistics, because everybody needs to know at an overview what's happening in the market. We have held 100K sold volume for seemingly forever in NFT time now. It feels incredible. Ever since Utes Mint and Abracadabra popping off, or better known as ABC, things have just been flying. It's been fantastic to see. We are currently at about 120K sold volume on Magic Eden right now. And OneonOne art has done really well. We'll be talking about additions today, but between exchange art and form function, we've seen a combined 22K sold over the past 7 days. That is a monumental jump, as we have been hovering about 10K sold, give or take, for the past few months. So it's nice to see that upward boost, and mainly due to additions dropping. We've seen Adam Ape drop his 4x4. We've seen Hyblinxx secondary pop off. We've seen first edition and good morning from John Lay. I mean, there's so much to talk about with these additions. So let's jump into it, guys. How are we feeling about the market? We'll go with you first, Dorian. What are we feeling right now?
Yeah. Man, I'm feeling great about the market. It's as we've been talking about for I think months now. It's just like how Utes was kind of holding everything up a little bit, and then once that kind of started to pass, we'd see this wave of new projects starting to mint, and I think we're seeing that right now. Utes has really kicked back off of at least a mini bull market. As long as volume remains over 100K, I think we're in the clear for the foreseeable future. It's super exciting right now. I don't dabble in mints myself that much, but it is great to see everybody super active in the ecosystem. But while you guys are being active on trying to find the next mint, I'm being active finding on undervalued projects right now.
That's good. That's good. Hey, there's always going to be attention turned to mints because it is a quick profit. We'll be talking about mints later in the show today, but there are always these undervalued projects that have really been building throughout this bear market, and now we are starting to see the fruits of their labor, what they've been working on over the past few months. Joe, how are you feeling about the market? What are we looking at right now?
I'm feeling. I love the fact that art is at the forefront right now and pushing the volume. That just makes me happy from a collector's standpoint, just from an investor's and collector's standpoint, growing up collecting Yu-Gi-Oh card, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh. I just love the fact that like artists and the love for the art, the excitement for the art is what's pushing us right now. So I'll take that all day.
Yeah, I love that you said Yu-Gi-Mon, dude. You sounded like my dad back when I was like 10 years old, bro.
Dude, how crazy I just said
that. What are those Yu-Gi-Mon cards?
Yo, quick side note, my mom was like super Christian, so she wouldn't let me bring my Pokemon cards in the house because they were demonic. So
oh yes, of course, the witchcraft. Yeah,
yep.
we had the same thing, bro. I get it. It is good. It is good to see art really pushing the forefront. We've been talking about it for a while. This art rework meta has been here in full force. We've seen it a lot with these projects, but really the ones that have been getting art reworks done by notable artists and bridging that gap, like we always say, between OneonOne and the generative space, those seem to be the real winners right now. We can talk about those later in the show as well. But I do want to get into a little bit of market headlines real quick. We'll talk first about Frank came back. He graced us with his presence back on Twitter, and he has been active on the Utes Discord. He has been active on the D-Gods Discord, but maybe not as much so. He's taken a little time off and kind of realigned himself. He wrote an awesome Substack article. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you listen to it or just read it. I'm not listen to it, read it, and just see what it's like to be inside a huge founder's head, right? Like understand where he was coming from on some of his thoughts. And he was so eloquent with it in his typical Frank's way, where he's appealing to degens, but also just completely laid out every bullet point. I thought it was incredibly well written and poignant, right? He didn't beat around the bush or anything like that. I mean, he went as far as to say, I took a day off, got a haircut, and smoked some weed. That's what I did one day. I was like, you know what? You deserve that, Frank. You go for it, my man. So Joe, as our resident D-Gods holder, how did you feel about that article? I want to hear your thoughts on his comeback. Good talk, Joe. Dorian, let's head it over to you. What do you think about that Substack article?
As a resident Ute holder, I'm pretty glad that Frank came out with such a well-written article, just explaining some behind-the-scenes stuff and how he was feeling. And honestly, it's like, it's good that he took a break. It's like, dude's been grinding for like months at a time. And I can only imagine for those who don't or have not worked on a project, nobody understands the stress of wanting to launch something successfully and having to deal with hiccups along the way and all the amount of FUD that you get from one small mistake. So it's a lot of pressure that was on him to execute in the D-Gods team. So honestly, it's like, I'm glad that he took some time off. Hey, guess what? Take some more time off if you need it. Because when he comes back, he's going to be, or as he is now, he's going to be ready to execute and even outperform what he was doing in previously.
Yeah. No, I'm so bullish on taking time off. Like, look, a lot of people in the NFT space really haven't ran their own business or anything of that nature. And I will tell you, as somebody who, look, I'm in real estate, right? We at least have a blueprint of how this stuff goes. This is the NFT forefront. Like, people have unrealistic expectations sometimes because they've seen what happened in the Ethereum space. And look, Ethereum had the pleasure of being first movers, and that stuff exploded off of very little value provided back to holders, in my personal opinion. For some reason, it seems like there's this double standard when it comes to Solana NFTs, and Frank absolutely crushed it. I want to bring up his article because there was a couple points that I'm going to miss, and if I don't look at it, I want to, but one, talking about there was that FUD of like the art wasn't ready, the project wasn't ready. Why is he releasing this? And he crushed it with his Moonbirds thoughts. You know, Proof was first, right? He got K Rowe coming out with the Proof Collective, and Kevin Rose is a goat in the Web 2 space and doing great things in Web 3. But just talking about like Moonbirds took a while to release. Doodles Genesis box mint 48 days, still no reveal. Right, Doodles has 127 days and no reveal with their duplicator airdrop. Moonbirds Oddities took 61 days to release. Bro, this takes time. Like, people want to make sure that it is perfect when it comes out because this is NFTs, and if it isn't like almost 99% done when it's released, there's a lot of FUD, especially when so many eyes are like on your project. So I love. He basically said, "Dude, it's been 8 days. Like, give me a little bit of time. I promise it's going to be great when it comes out." But look, now they have the funds. They got the Dust Labs funds with the fundraise. They also have the funds from the Utes Mint. They got the dust back, and they can allocate it accordingly. So, Dorian, I kind of want to hear your thoughts as far as, was there anything that stuck out to you with this article?
No, it was one thing that did stick out to me was the time frames that you mentioned, man. It's because like we're in this Solana bubble and like things move at the speed of light. It's like it's hard to understand. It's like, man, it's like these things do take a long time to happen. It's like we expect immediate return. Like if something's not done or accomplished within a week, it's just like, oh man, it's like, but this team is slow rugging. It's like I was seeing people on the timeline. It was like, where's Bubblegoose's trailer? It's like, yo, it's like creating an animated show takes time, and whatever Frank is building takes time as well. Like cheek, chill, dog.
Yeah, some of this stuff, bro. Like, look, I always break NFTs into what I trade on swing trades or like scalping trades. Essentially, it's hard to scalp in NFTs because you do have to account for royalties. So, you know, usually on my scalps when it comes to crypto or even traditional equities, those are talking basis points. Crypto is usually like I'm hoping to get like a 10% bump. at anywhere from 5 to 10. And then when it comes to NFTs, those are mainly swing trades. I usually trade them within the week or something like that. I wait for bullish news to hit or anything in between, but I'm looking for a 2x because I do have to account for those royalties. So, another point that I wanted to bring up, dude, it was, it's accounting for my own FUD. Cause I remember coming on the show and I was saying, dude, 7 million for Dust Labs fundraise. Like, they are the number 5 project in market cap. Like, I feel like they could have got more. He was talking about treasury. I didn't even think about this, but like accounting a treasury. So what the investors see as far as their treasury goes, he's talking about Basie has a $400 million treasury. CryptoPunks, same thing, 400 million. Macy, 400 million. That could just be Yuga Labs in general. So I have to fact check that. But Moonbirds, 100 mil in treasury. Doodles, 70 mil in treasury. DGods has 1.2 million in treasury. So like Solana in particular, we have this problem, and I really want to push it that like we should be better with higher mint costs. And what I mean from that is like when you see quality projects, when I saw 7 Soul for bubblegoose, I was about it, dude. Like you were bringing over massive talent. They had a certain budget they needed to meet. And I would say that is my biggest example when it comes to this. And Utes is the same way. This is the second collection from DGods who proved themselves. They went 100x, over 100, 200x at one point. They hit a 600 soul floor. So we need to be looking at like they need treasury, right? And with their SaaS services that will be coming out eventually with Dust Labs, I got to imagine that treasury is going to get bolstered dramatically. But we need to start normalizing higher mint prices or just pump Soul. Everybody buys Soul right now. I don't know, not financial advice, but like just spot buy Soul. Like we can prop up the crypto economy here. Joe, are you back yet? I just want to see if you are back and here. I cannot hear Joe. Joe, I'm not sure if your mic's on or not, but we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Joe. He might have left. Okay. Dorian, I guess it's going to be a you and me show until further notice. That's okay. But nonetheless, I'm incredibly bullish. It's nice to have Frank back because, look, I love Frank as a founder. He has that degen side, but he also has that founder side. He's very good at being what I think is the most important part of a founder is a business analyst. So basically taking the complications of a business and disseminating it to the audience or the consumers or investors and saying, look, this is what we're doing. He is so good at it. So really good to see that front. I mean, Tom's good at it. Shake in the audience. What is up, Shake?
Shout out
Shake
to Shake.
Shake is very good at it. I mean, it's those forward-facing founders that I think are really going to move Solana to this point where we start having these $100 million treasuries, right? Like that is insane. So let's talk a little bit about recent news. And this just broke. I mean, like I'm talking an hour ago or something like that, where OK Bears just announced a partnership with IMG. If you guys don't know who IMG is, they are the biggest licensing firm out there. They represent brands like Pepsi and I want to say Porsche and a bunch of different like high quality brands out there. Look, as somebody who does not really care for the Bears, I do care for the fact that they are getting the word out there. This is a net positive for NFTs and Solana NFTs in general. I think there was a typo in the article talking about Ethereum NFTs instead of Solana NFTs, but I'll go ahead and forgive it. IMG is still getting their feet wet in the NFT field, but nonetheless, this is good. I mean, like as much as I have an issue on the NFT side of Bears, their branding and marketing is better than anything I've seen. They are very good at it, and bridging the gap and having somebody like IMG on your side to handle the licensing is massive for NFTs. Dorian, do you have any opinion as far as like what OK Bears is doing right and what they should be doing going forward?
So as this might not be a surprise to most people here, but I'm not the hugest fan of Bears, especially in their execution. But honestly, it's like it doesn't matter because if they're able to continue to do partnerships like this and like maintain that community that they did grow, it's like they're going to be successful. So it's like I can fade them all day and night, but like partnerships like this speak for itself. And like as you said, Bison, they are extremely good at marketing. Like, and there's just something about that PFP. I don't know if it's just the floor price or just the art style of it. I think it's able to resonate with the mainstream audience. And the fact that it was able to capture one of the only projects on Sol that was able to capture ETH liquidity speaks a lot for it. So this partnership is huge, and I can't see what they actually do with it. Hopefully they don't fumble it because they have not been known to execute things properly in the past, but we'll see.
Yeah. Absolutely. It is going to be very interesting to see what they do with it, but this is a huge step forward. I mean, massive step forward. So I'm excited to see. And it is one of those things where, look, I look at OK Bears and I look at bubblegoose and I just see so many comparisons as far as like the brandability of both of them. And you're talking about literally 10% of their floor, not even at this point. OK Bears is actually pumped off that news, and bubblegoose still sitting about 5.3. I do own 3 bubblegoose, just a full disclaimer, but not trying to pump my bags. I love seeing value plays, right? And that is a value play. If I love seeing OK Bears move because I'm like, bubblegoose could be right there with it. So this is net positive for NFTs in general, specifically Solana NFTs, because I do see a lot of brandability there. Speaking of NFTs, Magic Eden released Ethereum NFTs. They have finally come through with Magic Ethan. They now are on their 1-year anniversary. It coincides with the Cyber Samurai 1-year anniversary. Love to see it. But this is huge. I mean, it is. They're talking about being an aggregator of all NFTs, specifically Ethereum first. I would imagine they will include some down the road with other chains, but we are heading to a cross-chain future. For me, that's bullish. I love to see it because I do think that Web3 in general needs to just bridge these gaps. We always talk about bridging gaps, and if we can stand as a united front and not just be maxis on one thing, look, I will always have favor towards Solana, but until proven otherwise, I'm going to stay on this chain. I just like it more. Nonetheless, I do like seeing Ethereum. Look, I will explore Ethereum NFTs if they have a solid value prop. But what do you think about this, Dorian? Because I'm hugely bullish on it.
I think it's a net positive for the space, man. Anything that increases composability is amazing in my book. Like being able to like pay ETH to get Solana NFTs or vice versa, I think it's only a net positive for the space. As you said, if there's a project on the ETH side that has a good value prop, I'm down, man. And if I could buy like a VFriends and Sol whenever I have that type of liquidity, by all means, I'm going to purchase one. So it's great to see stuff like this. I wonder, what do you think that Magic Eden would potentially start to branch off to other chains that have a thriving NFT space?
Yeah, I got to imagine, because, we're seeing a lot of noise with, I would say the two that really pique my interest if I was going to look anywhere else is going to be Matic or Immutable X are two of the bigger ones as far as the NFT front goes. There's, there's always that talk of Cardano and stuff like that. I will let Cardano people be Cardano people. I welcome you with open arms whenever you want to come over to Solana, but it's nice to see we have explorability between chains now. So for me, this is positive. I think it'll also fuel consumer demand for NFTs, which will also fuel competition between NFTs to actually innovate. So when we start seeing cross-chain right there, we start seeing more competition, and it's going to push people to a better and bigger future with what they can do with NFTs. So,
well said.
Let's get into project updates, because I definitely want to talk about those. We had a ton drop, notably in Auditions. I really want to talk about Auditions a lot this podcast. We're going to be talking about Paw Gang. Oh, welcome back, Joe.
Yes, guys. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Web 2 business called, and I unfortunately was a super emergency. So I apologize to everybody listening. I'm back.
You're all good. You're all good. No, we're just getting into project updates. We're going to be talking a little bit about 4x4. So 4x4 is the first edition dropped by Adam Ape. If you don't know who Adam Ape is, has a huge history in visual arts. We can talk about his. If you guys don't know who Adam Ape is, I will tell you right now, you know of his work. You've seen it in his A24 logo. Yep. You've also seen it in the Google logo rework. If you guys don't know, the old colorful Google was eventually changed into the colorful G and has a nice animation with it. And that's Adam. That's Adam. That's Adam right there. So his Web 2 experience. He finally doxed his work a few months back, but it is nice to see Auditions drop from some of these notable artists. He also said that this is going to tie into whitelist for his Paw Gang, which is going to be an Ethereum project. I know we have mixed feelings about this on this show, but I know that Paw Gang is going to cook whenever it does come. It sounds like it's going to be Q1 of 2023, so you do have time. I don't know if I'd ape in right now, but I definitely it is high on my watch list. If there is any addition I want and I'm going to look for any sort of pullback, it is going to be on 4x4 or even the supply chain and Voxel Monkey drop. I certainly can't afford a voxel monkey. That's too much liquidity for me, but they are sitting at about a 424. I want to talk to you, Dorian, because I know you picked up a couple of these. I know Joe did as well, but let's talk first to you about your opinions on all of this.
So I first learned about this because Shake said that on Twitter he swept the floor, and I'm like, okay, Shake just picked up like a bag of these, like a hefty one. So I'm like, and then boom, Joe all of a sudden tweeted it out too, and I'm like, I don't care if these two guys are picking up something, I'm aping. So I went and purchased one at 20. So I was like, okay, now let me research. So I researched, and as you said, Adam has a huge history in visual arts. He went to one of the most notable visual arts schools in the States. He worked at Google. He's done work with Amazon, Apple. He's done Voxel Monkeys, which sitting at a 420 sold floor right now. And my thesis, bet on solid founders, man. And this is one of the most solid dudes in the space that has released an edition at an affordable price, man. And this gives you his Voxel Monkeys and his his 4x4 gives you a whitelist for Paw Gang, which is expected to mint on ETH. In my opinion, that is extremely bullish. I listened to him over on a space over the weekend, and one of the reasons he wants to do that is because he finds that people in ETH have more of an appreciation that goes into the art aspect of side of things, vice just purely asking for utility. And for me, it's like one of the things that I love best about Adam's art is the fact that you get to, if you pick up one of his pieces, you get to connect with him. What better utility can you ask for, in my opinion? Anyway, I'm super bullish on what he's going to do in the future. I'm super excited about Paw Gang. And as you said, this isn't looking to mint till Q1 2023. So like, I wouldn't consider FOMO in right now, and I'd probably sit and chill, see what the price action does. But I don't know what it's going to do. But if it drops below 20, you can best believe I'm scooping more up.
That's right. That's right. Joe, I know you picked some up as well. Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So my thoughts, originally are arts, like I said earlier before I ducked out on accident. Art's pushing the forefront of this volume right now, especially with the hype and excitement. We're waiting for all these, additions by these one-of-one artists that everyone has come to love and see. Their art revamps have been used within other projects as well. And with Adam, I just think I'm basically a hype play originally before I looked into it, for his connections in the Ethereum world, his connections in the Web 2. I mean, it's just an easy entry for any of his friends or anybody that, cares about his work in general. So it being an entry with 4x4 being on the Solana blockchain where I can just go to my Phantom, Magic Eden, and I don't have to think about MetaMask or anything else was an easy play for me. Even if it drops back down to 15, 13 SOL, that'll just be from no delayed gratification. And once the Iron Paw starts coming with real sneak peeks and the whole thing is laid out infrastructure, it'll run again, right? Because it holds value within itself, just being a one-on-one collection in the art, right? That actual voxel style 4x4 art that he's originated with is there for always and forever. So I think the utility has multiple facets to it. But like Bison said, there's a lot of also undervalued one-of-one artists that are in the space that you can make plays on and take that 20 SOL you're about to go get a 4x4 with and split it up amongst 2 or 3 other people with a better reward ratio. So don't FOMO into anything. I think it's a really fun time right now in this space. But there's a lot of avenues to make money still, and to not even make money right away, right? A delayed gratification sense, right? For months in the future. So yeah, that's my thoughts about it.
Yeah, I think I'm on the opinion that 4x4 is worth picking up, but I am waiting because I know people don't have patience in the space.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
you're talking about a full another quarter, possibly 2 before this even drops. Are you kidding me? That is like eons in NFTs.
It is like eons. Truly like eons.
I'm going to wait for people to shake out.
Soul could be $50 when this comes around. You never know.
True.
Soul might be 11. So like Bison said, that's smart. It's smart to wait. Yep. And even if you see, 3 souls at 17, you go, all right, you know what? I'm snagging it now. Don't rush. And especially with a collection like that, with a hard resistance at like 23 SOL, we've seen it there a lot. Just relax. My question to you, Bison, is what do you think about, did you touch on John Lee Good Morning whitelist allocation yet? And have you talked about entry on that, or what your thought process was?
No, those are coming up in additions, which we can certainly transition to. Because I do want to talk about additions. I will tie it in with the Adam 8 point, because I do agree with him that Ethereum people it is just a more mature market. They do appreciate art more. That is definitely something that they do better. it's easier for me to gauge sentiment over on Solana, just because I know people are asking for utility. Part of me loves the fact that they are tying in the utility is basically whitelist for some of their upcoming projects or pre-sale for their mints. I think that's great because, dude, I'm so tired of bots on these exchange drops. I'm so tired of it. Some of this stuff sells out. I mean, DGen Poet cooked over the weekend.
Ridiculous time. Bison, I mean, oh my goodness,
it was
with a news.
Dude, and it sucks because a minting experience is so much fun, dude. It is so much fun to mint something, and I'm not anti-bot. I hate that bots completely suck the value out of the whole experience and absolutely lurch on secondary. You know what I mean? Like they spring everything onto secondary. And I know artists are like, well, I make more money, but they also artists to me have a better incentive alignment with collectors than a generative collection does with actual participants in the generative collection. Like they are more of a business. Artists are like, hey, I feel an emotion. I'm evoking fine art and I want you to be a collector, So I think they'll do something better about that. But I'm also worried that this utility, like kind of meta coming into this art space is going to, like Adam said, is going to kind of like deter people from OneonOne, like, oh, I'm not minting this because I don't have any pre-sale, allocation or something like that for your next drop, or I don't get any holder benefits. That's like an added benefit down the road that shouldn't be announced to me. You should be buying for the art. Like the art is dope over on Solana. We have a really good price point. It's not as cheap as Tezos or something like that, which has a really good art scene, but it's not as expensive as Ethereum. And I've been talking about this over the weekend on a space with Sube, who's an artist I connected with. And we were just talking about how Solana is just that nice medium of artists can actually make a living. It's not an expensive startup cost because you don't have to worry about gas to mint all of your additions or anything like that. It's such a good space. It's maturing the right way, and I don't want it to mature the wrong way with this utility. So I'm kind of at a standstill with it. Like I love it. I love rewarding holders and collectors and stuff like that, but I don't want it to be like the focal point of you actually minting it, right? Like this art will mature.
So Bison, do you think would you be bearish if one artists like Hyblinxx starts to migrate or expand over to ETH?
No, I'm not against him, so like with his Paw Gang going over to ETH, like I get it, but it's one of those things where I think you could do more on Sol, and like you could be a leader in bringing that value and those thought processes over to Sol rather than like just going over to Ethereum and kind of defaulting over there. I think that's my big problem with it is like we're finally getting to that point. Dude, John Lay pieces are going for 400 plus Sol. You know what I mean? Voxel Monkeys. Lurkers, we're all going for 400. I mean, we've seen huge growth in LoFronts. We'll be talking about them too, but it's just one of those things where we are starting to appreciate it. Like, and I get it. Like we want this cross-chain future. But I also I think it's more hard to get Ethereum people over to Solana than it is for Solana people to go, I'll go over to Ethereum right now. Like if you show me a good project, I'll mint it right now. I got Ethereum in my wallet, but it's so hard to get. It feels like most of the prominent people on Ethereum are so stubborn to move change. And we're seeing it with Utes. I mean, like Utes was a huge value add. And that's what I'm saying is like, it was on Sol. Like, would you consider it bullish if it was on Ethereum rather than Sol? I mean, we saw it with like Akumu Dragons with Boryoku. We saw it with, I'm trying to think of some other Sol drops that did Ethereum drops as well. But I mean, like Akumu did nothing, dude. It did nothing to move the Sol ecosystem. And I'm like, we fed you, right? Like Adam could have done his own thing. He did his own thing in Web 2. He didn't need to be fed by us, but like we're here to build a community over here. And I don't know. I'm not saying he's like a cop out or anything like that. I'm just like, bro, you could be pushing the envelope on the Sol art landscape over here. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I don't hate it, right? Like if he wants to go on Ethereum, by all means. Hopefully he has some Sol integration. Hopefully there's some cross chain in the future with Paw Gang, and we're one big happy family, right? That's my hope. But that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean, he said that he's always been thinking about expanding onto ETH. I'm not too sure if he'll like do some cross-chain stuff back and forth, but this has always been his plan to like start on Sol, build here, and then also bring some of the Sol people with him over to ETH. So I'm still excited for whatever he comes up with in the future and like what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is fair, but we'll talk about some of these other Sol artists who additions have been popping, man. I mean, we did talk. Joe mentioned it. John Lay's Good Morning piece, especially, that was a 1 SOL mint, and it's now sitting at like 12 SOL. It was at 8 before they announced that Good Morning and the first edition both get pre-sale allocation for his next drop. So it is cool to see. And it also is cool to see, like, we now have an apportionment factor. So when I was in IP and I was valuing these IP licensing and litigation deals and stuff, we called it an apportionment factor, talking about what that patent or what that technology did in order to fuel sales, right? So Good Morning was at 8 SOL. We saw it rise to 12, 13 SOL. That we can now apportion, like, hey, about 50% of the value is driven, anywhere from 33 to 50% of the value is driven to the pre-sale allocation, right? The other 67 to 50%, depending on the collection, is driven because people like the art. So now we can see, like, hey, this is good. I mean, like, it's bringing more people into one-on-one art. So I'm not opposed to it. And these editions have been cooking. We've seen it with Hyblinx's Hansy, her first edition. There's been rumors about some collector rewards there. So I definitely picked one up over the weekend. I know that Dorian did as well. And we also saw it with LoFronts. LoFronts actually pumped up from 5 SOL. They're now at a 10 SOL floor for their editions. And Soulboy is just one of those guys that he gets it. He gets the whole business aspect of the one-on-one scene really well, like really, really well. He gets the cadence part where, you have artwork release and everything like that. I'm just so incredibly bullish on LoFronts. They pumped up since I mentioned them first on stream. They were at 20 SOL for a one-on-one piece. Now they're going for like 60 minimum. So they've seen really good growth, and I just think they create an awesome landscape. But guys, I know you guys have been buying editions, and I'm happy to hear it because, we are supporting these artists that have done so well for Sol. Kind of want to talk about your recent purchases and why you're bullish on them. Let's go with you first, Dorian.
Yeah, man. So one of the things that I picked up, of course, 4x4, Atom Ape. I had to get into those. I have a couple of those. Another one I picked up was Hansy by Hyblinxx. Bison. All my one-on-one stuff has originated from Bison. This is why you should be watching this show, because without Bison, I wouldn't know about any of this, and I'd be completely lost. So shout out to you, dog. What else did I pick up? I know. I'm waiting on trying to find a better entry for GM from John Lay, for the future potential of mint allocations or whatnot. And then I'm kind of waiting on, I know DJ Poet and Hyblinxx has something in the works. So I'm relying on Bison once again to keep me informed what's going on with that.
Yeah, we're going to be trying on that. Joe, I know you got a Good Morning stash away in your ledger. What else you got there? I know you got a 4x4.
Yeah, so I have a few 4x4s. I got John Lett. Yeah, GM sitting there. I think that might be the only ones I have right now that are allocated to like a one-of-one project. I'm trying to think in my head quickly. Oh, I do own some DJ Poet Pokemon still. I think I have a Pikachu in my stash. But yeah, man, I mean, really, I think I'm bullish as a trader on these upcoming plays, new edition wise, to play the waves of pumps and then stagnant drops while we're waiting for any announcements, and then these kind of waves that will be there for these whitelist allocation one-of-one edition projects. So yeah, I'm excited to trade them and then ultimately mint and trade some more, and then hopefully make a bag to where I can keep one of these for like an actual display in my house, but for free. That's my goal, right? I don't care if I make money with one-of-ones. As long as I could have some cool stuff for free, that's like a really cool goal for me. So
it's a really good point, Joe. That's ultimately my goal when I go into these editions. Editions are just more liquid when it comes to these short and medium term plays. Yeah. For me, I sold pretty much all of my DJ and Poet Pokemon. I think I have a Jigglypuff and Lickitung still.
You probably made a nice profit with that and sitting on those for free, basically, right?
I picked up a Hansy with the profit, so I'm just gonna rotating into stuff that I see value in. And I'm keeping. I kept some of the profits on the side, dude. I cooked on those Pokemon. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome.
Healthy trader, like you're giving a net positive space, because if you have a bunch of people that are doing what you're doing and they always have liquidity from green, buying and selling things they love and then keeping a moon bag, and then that's just a natural progression of a market of sellers and buyers in an equality sense. Like that's what we need. So like, I don't want people to hear and go, oh my God, they're selling. And what if don't they like that artist? So it's like, yeah, but that's how they get creator fee. This is a natural, healthy market paradigm. Yeah. This is what you have to, you can't, you know what I'm saying? We're not shilling here and saying, oh, and then going, No, we're building portfolios. We're selling here. We're buying here, and that's just a natural paradigm for a market. So yeah, like you said, Bison, I think we have a lot of potential here in the Solana space, and it is true. I do want more people not to run to Ethereum once they just get some whitelist allocations on Solana, right? Like I think that's a good point, backing up to what you said earlier. And I think I might be changing my thought process on it the more I speak about it. And I know the liquidity is there, but it's kind of like, are you going to be really in the trenches and grind for one-of-one artists and artist creative royalties on a new chain? Or are you just going to kind of fall back on what's easy and what's there already? So I get what you're saying with that as I'm speaking to myself.
Yeah. It is. So it's one of those things where, like with Adam, I don't ever worry about Adam and his intentions, right? Like
in general, not anybody in general here. Just like just the market psychology point of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my thought process with it is I don't worry about Adam. Like if Adam wants to go off to Ethereum and bring people to Sol or Sol people to ETH and just expand horizons, that's fine with me. I do have a one-on-one artist right now who I'm kind of upset with. He just keeps releasing additions, and this is where you kind of have to gauge sentiment of the artist. Like for me, it feels kind of cash grabby. Like he's going with additions rather than like diluting his supply massively with this stuff because he thinks it's just like a really quick way to make really good money. And it is really good money. I mean, it's like 100 additions for 1 Sol each or 3 Sol each. And that's like really good money for some of these artists. I don't blame them for doing it. It's just like when you get lost in that, you're diluting supply, you're diluting your brand. And
and as an artist, right? That's your most important thing. Bison, you're right. 100%.
Yeah. Another thing you touched on, Joe, too, that I didn't even think about this until I started talking with Soul Boy over at LoFronts, and he was like, dude, I love secondary sales. He goes, I want to make people money. Like that is, we add collectors, we get money, you guys 100%. Get money, and we get to climb up charts and our stuff gets more notable. Like it is a win-win. So don't be afraid to sell one-on-one art. I've changed my stance completely on it. Like I'm not just like straight collector. Like I'm building my portfolio of one-on-one art through some of these notable pieces.
Yeah.
So
man.
do it. Do it.
And
like
honestly,
don't be afraid to do it.
You are in yourself, right? Like an investor like you are a net pot. You've pushed Dorian, me. You've onboarded so many people into the one-on-one space. Without investors like you, the space does not move forward. You need people that care about it, are not getting paid in any type of way to care about it. Just generally love it, and that's that seed right there. That's invaluable. You can't put money into that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's what you get in a beautiful community like Solana that is groundbreaking, right? We're in on the front lines. We're here early, and with conviction and being here early, you are rewarded in profits. And so like that is just how it is, like that, and that's a natural. That's how the stock market started. That's how futures, equities, like that's just what. So if we want to become a staple of $1 billion market cap and just say our echo chamber itself, we need a lot more people like Bison with that paradigm. So yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. Well said, dude. It's like I can't say I tell you enough how appreciative I am of this. Like I can't believe I also left LoFronts off my list of things that I picked up for additions. I picked up one of those yesterday, and I think you guys saw that on our intro screen today. It's like it's so awesome. So like a lot of my one-of-ones, it's like I do expect to take profits on them eventually, but I have a longer time horizon than like 2 or 3 months. It's like Hyblinxx popped off. It took her 6 to 8 months before she popped off as she did. So it's like sometimes it's just like waiting and chilling. Like Proteon is somebody I'm extremely bullish on, man. And it's like the more pieces of his collection of portraits of the aftermath that he releases, it's amazing seeing all these different pieces of art shape up in the entire collection, man. And I can't wait to hear more about his passion in creating this and the narrative behind it, but it looks amazing.
Right. Absolutely. Yo, first off, I am so sorry, people in the chat. For some reason, my restream chat is not wanting to work. I'm just jumping on the page, so I'm seeing everybody. Please jump into one-on-one space. It is so much fun profiting, connecting with these artists, and like just building community. Like they said, it is so much fun. So yes, DGen Poet has been cooking Shake. I definitely, that there was a teaser for an edition that is going to be worked on by Hyblinxx and DGen Poet. I will be going for it hard. Those are like 2 of my favorite artists in the space right now. So just continue to look, man. I mean, it's a fun space to explore, and I think that's it when it comes to one-on-ones. Just build community around them. I love seeing that volume is absolutely skyrocketing when it comes to these one-on-one marketplaces. So kudos to them. and we'll just continue to see them bolster their ranks. So when it comes to additions, those aren't the only things cooking right now, guys. Holy crap, it feels like mint season right now. Yes, sir. I mean, we are seeing some mints absolutely pop off. Pretty much 3Xs across the board. We saw Yukio go from 3. I think it minted for 3. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but all the way up to 9.
325, something like that, 3.25, I think.
Yeah, so it went up to 9. Now it's 6. So seeing a nice little retest. We seen Simpler, the bounty hunters, minted for 2, up to 6 now. We've seen BVD cats go from 1.11 to 3.5 now. It really does feel like mint season is upon us. Guys, I want to turn it over to you real quick before I go into my list. Is there anything on your radar that we should be looking at when it comes to mints? I'm going to go with you first, Joe.
Yeah, so I'm still a component of Eries, and now that they decided on Soulport for their launch pad, I'm even more bullish on that. Just from the sheer volume of the alpha discussion within taiyo and the people that are able to have whitelist allocation through scrap, and then that'll just, I mean, you've had 4 for 4 now with Soulport launches, and they've just done so well in secondary. So with this being a Halloween play, they have a whole structure IP that are already out with a token that's coming, a VR 3D world that you can go in and shop around, and like they really are taking their time. And I think with the Halloween timing, with the art, with Soulport, I think that's a nice chance to make a quick 3 to 6x, truthfully. So that's one Eries is I'm still looking at to try to get more whitelist. I have 2 at the moment. And I think really other than D frames, which is an IRL product, but you still get the whitelist allocation for that. I think that's going to do pretty well as well. So yeah, between D frames and Eries are 2 that I'm looking at right now for the next end of September, October.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Dorian, what are you looking at as far as mints go?
As everybody should know by now, I'm not a huge minter myself. However, Underground Society is one of the big ones I'm looking at. I think there's a lot of positive energy around that, especially with Light, our boy who was on the show, last week? Couple weeks ago on Thursday. Great dude, very intelligent. I think this project's really going to take off after mint. So I'm definitely looking to mint one to hold and try to pick up a couple extra to flip. Nothing against you, Light, but your boy got to eat too. So that's one of the things I'm looking at in terms of mint. And I just want to talk about taiyo real quick. As Joe was saying that taiyo's launchpad has been having some real hype mints, and there's a tweet that taiyo put out the other day. They launched Community 3, they launched Yukio or whatnot. They launched Oak Paradise, they launched G-Con Studios. And being a taiyo holder, you can get whitelist to all these projects. Not only that, it's like before the mint link usually drops about the same time as the Discord, if not quicker. So it's like taiyo holders are eating off of all these whitelists. And this is just the beginning, dog. We already discussed, it's like once a bull market comes back around and graphite's rolling out and people are able to scale this thing without needing Tom's help, dude, it's going to be insane. Taiyo holders are really going to be eating off these whitelists, dude.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I believe me, I am rotating profit. I don't want to burn too much liquid on getting a Gen 2. I'm not saying that I word this time, but I don't want to burn too much liquid on a Gen 2 as far as my percentage goes, right? Like I can afford one right now. I don't want to because it would kill my trading stash that I have on the side. That I just don't want to right now, but I am. Once I get a few more dubs, that's definitely going to be at the forefront. If you want some cheaper plays, guys, we've always talked about scrap and oil. Another play, though, I'm telling you this right now because I've gotten some pretty prominent whitelists through it, is Butthead, sitting at about 8 SOL. I will tell you right now, I got Critter Cult from them. I got Claynosaurs, and I think those 2 are going to be great.
Yeah, Critters, that's a good one, right? Bison. I think that one slept on. I think Critters is going to do very well. That's a good point.
Yeah, so Dorian, they are doing pop heads as well.
And so the person who's doing pop heads is a well-known one artist called Joyce, I think. She has this collection called Critters that the holders of that are killing it, man. Like they're going for like 40 SOL. So it's like, she's solid.
All I'm saying, the reason I like Butthead a lot, 1 is the low price point. 2 is I've already reaped rewards from it. 3, if you think if this meta continues, where we see a lot of these prominent one-on-one artists start making these generative collections or be affiliated with them, who do you think has the best connections to these one-on-one artists? It's probably gonna be Big Brain Gallery. And oh, by the way, Papa Moo is the curator for that. So, and Papa Moo is one of my favorite people on earth. He is just a big ball of vibes, man. That guy is incredible. We'll have him on the show at some point. I still got to work out scheduling with him, but
it'd be great to have him,
dude. I'm telling you right now, I think that Butthead is a play right there. Yeah. And if we are in mint season, you look at some of these. Look, Taio's expensive, but I think that would probably be my number one pickup. I'd say Butthead is right behind it. If you're looking for more of a value play, I think Butthead's going to cook because we also get one-on-one drops from it. We got some edition drops. One was from Proteon. I know he's cooking some stuff up with Soulboy and everything like that. That holders of it will get, it's basically like a raffle system where as long as you're holding them and don't have them list, you have a chance to get one of these edition drops, and they are awesome. So I just think Butthead's a good one. And then Blocksmith. I think Blocksmith should be up there as well, but that's a very expensive one. That's at 120 Sol right now. We mentioned them when they were 80 on the show with Forge as well. So if you want exposure to that, Forge may be a really good play so you can get in on the raffles for those whitelist spots over there. But those are what I'm looking at. If we are in mint season right now, it's good to look at mints. I do have a list of them right now to give you a little bit of alpha. We did talk about IPG, but those Paw Gang isn't going to be minting for a while, so I'm not like chasing it right now. As far as my list goes, Bet3. Oh my goodness, I am so bullish on Bet3. It's ridiculous. And full disclosure, I do have whitelists for it. I got it because Cody is the homie, another YouTube prominent guy. But that team over there, I don't know if you guys saw that thread. I retweeted it on my Twitter, but they have an incredible business model. And one, betting is going to be we are degenerates over here. So a sports betting platform that actually works is going to be awesome. I think it is going to absolutely rip, and the art looks good. The business model's good. I'm hugely bullish on them. Maxim World MX and WRLD, I think, is amazing. We've seen some of their one-on-ones do really well. They do have auctions for those. They've come out with 3 so far, and they've all been about 20 souls. So that should give you an idea of where they're going to go. Underground Society, we already mentioned. Critter Cult, those are the ones that are massively on my radar. I said Waku Land too. I think I said Waku Land. But yeah, those are the ones that are like big on my radar right now. So if I'm looking to chase whitelist, those are going to be the ones. I know Waku Land and Bet3 are coming up soon. So if you don't get those, no worries. I think Critter Cult is as well. But those are the ones I'm chasing in like the near term. And I'm definitely going to be minting if I can. So
yeah, man, I would definitely, if I had a whitelist to Bet3, I'd definitely mint that as well. I know there's a lot of hype around that, but yeah, man, it's like I'm not huge on minting, but these certain projects like UGS and Bet3, I think are great plays.
Yeah, no, I dude, Soulport keeps coming out with these launches that are cooking. So I'm telling you right now, it's just like that's the safest play to me is grabbing an infant, a Gen 2. Goodness gracious, I cannot say that it's not safe
grabbing
for work.
Infants there, Bison.
We're not grabbing infants here. We're grabbing a Gen 2 taiyo, an incubator. We'll call it that. But yeah, that's a safe play. And I think Butthead is just at this price is just juicy, man. I love the artwork from Nate Geo, but we're gonna go on from there. I do want to talk, and we'll talk about utility for a second. Dorian, I know you included this in the show notes.
Yeah.
And I do want to touch on it too, because we've had this like back and forth from some prominent people in the space, or at least with big followings. I don't want to call them prominent, but debating projects like Catalina Whales and Bubblegoose are slow rugs because they don't have quote unquote utility. And it just begs the question, like, what is utility, right? Yeah. Dorian, I want to kick it over to you because I know you have a stronger opinion on this.
Yeah, I do. So I think a lot of people on Sol like narrow down and limit utility to specifically, do I gain value through an SPL token or revenue sharing? If you're not getting value from either of those two things, it's hard for people to understand what utility is. Even in Cyber Samurai today, we have a whole bunch of stuff cooking over there. I'll get into that later. But one person's like, hey, are we going to get revenue sharing from this protocol launching? And we're like, no, dude, in the US, we will get KET if like the SEC catches wind that we're doing any type of revenue sharing. And a lot of these companies are US based and fully doxed. So Catalina Wells just can't straight up give holders money. Bubblegoose can't straight up and give holders money. But because they can't directly create or don't create an SPL token or give holders money, doesn't mean there's not utility there. Yesterday, Bubblegoose had its first Ballers Academy. I forgot the technical term that they called it. And it was just, the first one was Carl Jones just in there talking about his life story and like what inspired him to create Bubblegoose and how he relates to that. And hearing that made me even more bullish on Bubblegoose than I was. And it's like, people are like, what's the utility of Bubblegoose? What do holders get? Dude, that's exactly it. It's like you have access to someone that you would have never had access to before. Even more so, it's like, what do you get for holding a punk? It's like you can sit here, oh, it doesn't have utility. Yes, it does. You have access to an exclusive network that you would have never had access to any other way. And that's why people want a punk. It's like, I think people need to expand their definition of utility beyond, do I make money holding this passively? I hate to break it to you, but in life, you don't gain money by holding things passively most of the time. You actually have to work for it. And that even concludes contributing to a project that you believe in. It's like, if your project's not doing good, are you doing anything to help the founders out? Are you like pushing them on Twitter? Are you retweeting? Like, you have to actively participate in. So I think I would hope that in the future, in the Solana ecosystem, that we see a expansion of what actually defines utility beyond, do I get money for holding this passively?
Right. Yeah. It does need expansion, dude. I hate how narrow-sighted we are on Solana. And it goes back to that, like, we're still maturing as a market. So I'm going to give us a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, we need to expand our horizons when it comes to actual quote unquote utility. Right.
Yeah.
Joe, I want to kick it over to you because, you know, I'd say one that has nailed utility from like what Solana people expect, and then also like what the general utility should be, which I tweeted over the weekend, is community. Like having access to people that you would normally not have access to is the best utility you can possibly get.
Yeah.
So Joe, I think DGods does that incredibly well, right? Like DGods has the dust, they have an emission schedule, they have utility with Dust Labs. I think moving forward, more people should study their layout when it comes to it, but also don't confine yourself to that definition of utility, right? Like it's so much more than that. But Joe, what do you think utility should be? Like should we define it hard, or should we just leave it open for interpretation so we can move forward over the next 5 years?
No, I think a lot of people mistake what a utility really is. Like if we're speaking in legality terms, right? Like a utility, I think people should go and really look that up in the dictionary first, and then come back to what Dorian said is right. If these projects are offering utilities, then most of us are going to jail. Like because we haven't wrote off any of these SPL gains, we haven't done most of this stuff that we need to do if it's really strictly a utility. But in my mind, right, a utility, let's not say legality. What I believe a utility is anything that gives you value. And that is relative to you, right? So Dorian gets value from people explaining things how they thought. He has a brain, right? So he takes incentivization thoughts from other people to break down how he's going to go about his life and his goals, right? That's a value for him. Somebody else might have a value like Bison, who's getting great things from Butthead's whitelist allocations, right? That's a value to him. So I think a utility is whatever you care about and brings value to yourself. And that's why you should buy into a project, right? A lot of these people you hear complaining, moding, fudding projects is because they bought in at the high. They bought in. Why did they buy in? They didn't give a shit about utility when they bought in. They were like, oh, this is going to pump. I'm going to sell it. Now that they're stuck bag holding, they go, oh, well, maybe I should look in the ecosystem. Well, oh, this doesn't fit my value, right? Now I'll FUD it. No, you're just backwards. Don't FUD the project, sell it for a loss and compound your gains, or buy it for the reason, right? If you bought it for an entry and exit play, guess what? Take your loss and leave. But if you bought it for the utility aspect, it shouldn't matter what your entry is because you're getting that value that means something to you. And that's what I think utility is in this space, right? Value to yourself relatively.
Outstanding, man. That was like perfectly said, like eloquently, dog.
Ready to run through a wall, bro. Okay. Dude, it is like, why do you think OneonOne art is doing so well? Is there any utility there? I mean, yeah, we talked about it with Auditions where it's like your utility is pre-sale allocation maybe, or maybe an airdrop or something like that. But how much does that matter? No, it didn't before when John Lay pieces were going for 400 sold, right? It was, dude, one of the biggest value drivers to that was laydown, dude. Like it was that access to people. I mean, I'm telling you, that is like art and access to people are two of the most concrete, always going to be their sort of utility, and you cannot fake community. So, no, very well said, Joe. I kind of want to get into our alpha corner real quick before we go ahead and pop off here. What are you guys looking at right now as far as secondary plays go? We already talked about Mint, so I don't want to touch too much on that. Joe, I want to kick it over to you first.
Yeah, all right. So secondary plays lately, I did pick up Just Ape. Trying to look at my wallet right now to tell you guys actively. I did make a play. I have a play on Just Ape. I have a play on More Monkeys. I have a play on Dumbass Donkeys. I have a play on some Ukiyo. I have a play on some taiyo oil that I just scooped, actually, 5 I think that's pretty undervalued, under 13. Yeah, Sush, man. Sush, I actually, I listed a few just because I got them so low that, I'm still bullish and I have like 13 or 14, but I'm going to take my 3 or 4 soul. I love Shake. I love the community. I'm going to add some creator fees, but yeah, that's another play. I mean, Sush has got some real stuff coming and is really undervalued. So I've been playing those waves, like the up to $2 back down to 0.99. Like those are great waves too. So yeah, there's about 6 plays I think that I'm open on right now, plus the 4x4 that we talked about. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. I can agree with those. I like those plays. What do you got, Dorian? What are you looking at right now?
So 4x4 is a given. Like if that thing hits anywhere close in the 15 to 17 range, I'm going to be buying from now until whenever Iron Paw mints. On top of that, John Lay's GM, I'm waiting for a good entry on that. But last but not least, I'm going to continue with Joe said, is just like Cyber Samurai and Sush, man. As a disclosure, I am the community manager, and I do own a significant amount of Sush and Cyber Samurai. But because I am the community manager, I'm working on the project. So I'm trying to like give you guys alpha before it gets out to everybody. It's like, yo, we have a lot of things coming. Like I'm talking about a lot of bullish things for Cyber Samurai, a lot of bullish things for Sush. And Joe, you trade your Sams and your Sush as much as you want, dog. As long as you're making profit, that's all that I'm happy about. It's like at Cyber Samurai, we don't get mad when people sell. As long as you're taking profits and eating, you're good, dog. I'm glad that we can help.
I mean, I was the runner-up in the last legendary auction. Like I just missed that 4 minute. Like that was my. So I'm bullish on the ecosystem, but. How I compound these gains and get the actual Sam I want or get the actual Sush because man, I mean Shake just dropped that chart that showed the common, legendary, all these new Sush things that are coming. That was alpha right there that people slept on. Like so, I'm all in it. Like, dude, and when I'm trading your projects, it's because I'm bullish on your project, and I'm just a trader at the standpoint. And I love making moon bags. I love sticking like my D gods, my taiyo. I stick them and forget about them because they're free. They're free to me, and I do not have to think about them. And that's when I've made my best trades, creating a moon bag, sticking it in a ledger, and forgetting about it, not having any emotions attached, checking on it in a year. So, yeah, man. And real quick, before I let Bison go, because he always is, just the articulate ending speaker that we have. Great. Guys, I sent that into you, that Metaplex white paper NFT, and it was 3.9. It's almost up to 7 sold. I don't know anything about it. I bought it off of someone else's thoughts. And yeah, so I have no idea if you can, Bison, if you have any thoughts on that, or you can explain that to me, please. That would be great.
that was a Manny play right there, which I will feed into by a Cyber Samurai because we have access to some of the smartest people in here. Dude, Manny called that at 3 something. He bought at 1 point, so he was basically just shilling his bags. What a terrible person, right?
I know. Don't we all though?
Well, yeah, no, it was a good call by Manny. Those things ran already. They're at like 7 or something like that. So no, I mean it's just I don't know if it ties into their Metaplex just dropped a token, so their governance token, which if you're in the US, you certainly cannot get. Right, so I cannot possibly get Metaplex tokens on this.
No, you cannot.
No, you cannot. So I don't have any Metaplex tokens.
I'm in whatever country it's legal in right now, Bison. Actually, I forgot to tell you that.
Oh man, well, congrats on the move.
Congrats, man.
That. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, Metaplex tokens are out there. I'm very curious, dude. Metaplex is a mover in this market. I mean, they're basically how we mint everything, right? It's through Candy Machine. So
for Candy Machine. Okay, so that's what that is.
Yeah,
So,
they run Candy Machine. They're like the whole basis of our market from a contract level. So I am curious to see how they hold up when taiyo comes out with graphite and graphite contracts come out and stuff like that. That's gonna be a very interesting play. I think we're gonna see some market share taken from them.
Great point, Vice. I didn't think about that. That's next level FA right there. I didn't even think about that. That's a whole nother market shared opportunity for them to steal.
I try not to have FOMO when it comes to taiyo, but
that's a play I haven't even thought about. Like that paradigm of them having a bunch of market to steal just there because they're the second comer. I mean, that's like a no-brainer. I mean, that is alpha. I don't know if you guys picked that up, but that's alpha right there. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, I am bullish because if it's 1-to-1 from scrap, and scrap is down right now to 80 cents, which sounds like a pretty juicy entry to me. I will continue to DCA into some scrap. And if it's going 1-to-1 graphite, and if graphite even tackles anything, gets any of the market share Metaplex, on top of their launchpad, on top of all the SaaS services they're offering to business to business, like this is why I think from a blue chip perspective, there is no other project I am more bullish on right now than them. Nonetheless, let's talk about some other plays. I do have Sush. I think you need to own a multiple of 6 for Sush. Make sure you have multiples of 6. So if you are going to pick them up, they're only a soul last time I checked. I take your profit if you want to, Joe. I am not going to. I am waiting for those to go to 20 soul and Cyber Sam to go to 100. That's when I take profit.
Oh, we're going to get there, man.
That's how it works. But dude, want to shout out Joe real quick for Liberty Square because I took my cost basis out. I have two squirrels still.
Let's go.
I'm thinking about buying some more because honestly,
dude, they're not stop, bro. I'm telling you,
I hate buying pumps. I hate it. I will I'm not your pump buyer, but something just feels different about the squirrels. I don't know. Man.
And Bison, I'll tell you from an investor standpoint, right? I have a small account on Twitter, so if a founder is and I don't I'm not that guy that I'm not an advisor. You're not coming to me for anything. I'm just a guy on Twitter. I just like tweeting, and to come to me in the very beginning stages and go, yo, I've heard you on Spaces. I want to prick your brain. I'm like, oh, wow. And then you talk to an actual founder and you hear how they don't give a fuck if they get made fun of, if they get laughed out of Solana. They have their plan in their head and they're not wavering. And they have the funds. He told me I have the funds to run with anybody in this space. I'm going to be 40-some years old. I don't give a and I love that energy. So just that alone made me bullish on them. And now to see them hearing the community, changing staking into collection staking and all these things that people did have like negatives to say, they hear it and they're on it immediately. So yeah, Bison, I agree, man. I think they check a lot of boxes when you're looking for a solid up and coming possible blue chip in this space. They're hitting those parameters.
Yeah. They feel so good to me, dude. Like they feel like such solid people to support. So that's my 2 cents on them. Dorian, I know you were about to say something.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I'm super bullish on Liberty Square as well. I'm not gonna lie. I already took profits on mine. It's like a good 10x from 1 to 2 to soul entry. What's up, yo?
I said you had to. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm not fading the squirrels. However, I'm taking profits, letting them do their thing. And then once things settle down, I'm gonna look for another entry. But yeah, man, I'm not fading the squirrels. Solid founders, great community. They're going to definitely do well. And when I say great community, it's not because their price is pumping down, because it was for a couple weeks or not a couple months where their price was trading sideways around 1 something soul. So it's like they actually formed a solid community which helped them get to this point. So yeah, they're a great project to pick up.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel comfy with my bags. Like I said, I took my cost basis out. I'm riding with the squirrels. So Jacon Studios, I actually trimmed over the weekend. I sold at 8.5. And I wanted to buy another one when they hit 5 sold because I actually liked the art rework. They went to humans instead of apes, which is a very interesting move.
I swear you stare over my shoulder. I swear you stare over my shoulder. Bison, I thought the same thing earlier. I said, man, I'm gonna buy another one of these GCans. I've already dumped my bag. I made a nice like 6. I'm about to re-enter here at like 6 soul, and then they ran up to like 7. I'm like, I don't know if I can pull the trigger, but I want to. I see 20 soul on them, 15 to 20 soul, 13, let's say minimum to 20 soul. That range to me makes complete sense for them. Like,
yeah,
truly,
that was my take profit point. If I do buy one of these, is I think these go, dude, I mean, you can't help but draw comparisons to Vandals. I actually really like their team, HUD and Corrupt, and then you got the art backing from Arkham Fu and Jinraf, who are also very prominent in the one-on-one space.
Yes.
I think that's possibly a play I'm looking at. So if I do buy one, I'm telling you right now, my take profit's probably going to be in that 15 soul range, maybe even 20. But I'm probably going to be cautious with it. I will tell you right now too, we just released, I just got the notification like 5 minutes ago. Remnants just announced Longwood Labs, and I will tell you right now, it is just the beginning. And what we got cooking up there is going to change the entire landscape. They're sitting at 7.9, probably about 8 soul by the time people are listening to this. I'm telling you right now, I know our plans.
What are camps looking like nowadays, Bison? Because I've been out of the ecosystem for a long time.
Yeah,
camps ran up to 6.1.
Wow, they're almost above Rems.
I will tell you, 7.9 for Rems, 6.1 for camps. I will tell you right now, if I am fresh in the Remnants ecosystem, I would definitely buy a looter. You got to have fun in the game, right? That's part of the fun. If you're not a gamer, though, go straight camps. I will tell you right now, the alpha is camps. Dude,
I've never had more fun in my life. Like I don't know if you remember, I'd be on trips in the Airbnb in the morning with my coffee looting. Like, no, legit, man. That was I can't lie. They ran up to 20 plus soul. I had, and in camps, like 8 to 9, I had to take profetos. But
as you should.
But in all, see what they're doing. That was such a great infrastructure they had back then, 7-8 months ago. I can't even imagine. They've been grinding, creating. They got lab coming out. They got a whole IP type of thing they're trying to do. What are they? Are they just revamping everything, Bison?
We are pivoting to an idle MMO RPG. And
I'm with a good time.
I'm looking at the Miro board right now, and also collecting my loot. I'm not selling any remnants. I will tell you right now, they're going to be.
Is it? I've seen like the raffle aspect. Like you have like almost like a Wheel of Fortune that are like.
Yeah.
Is that like a new looting?
We got loot boxes. That total degen play. I have not had good luck with loot boxes. I also have like 20 of them right now. So if I want to burn camp, I can.
Oh, so you can burn camp and open a loot box as well?
Yeah. So what you got to do is you got to loot them on your trips.
Yep.
You can sell them if you want to. So right now the going rate is crates. You're looking at 89 camp for a rare, 21 for a common, and
set up. You can trade P2P now on the marketplace for nice.
Oh yeah, we got
that. So you don't got to go into Discord anymore to sell, dude. You can just do and right in real time sell to CMP right on the marketplace.
Yep. And I will tell you right now that we are in talks with a very prominent person in the DeFi space that we are finally at a point where I think it makes sense to have an LP. And we will be a mix of DeFi Kingdoms and RuneScape, all in one. I'm telling you right now, I try not to be hyper bullish, try not to oversell and overpromise, but oh my god, if we deliver any of the stuff that's
I'm picking up some right now.
Dude, it's a good time, and I promise you, there is going to be so much fun releasing over the next 50 days of stuff we have planned for marketing drops.
Remember the rip with Bull Run of gaming, and we didn't even have it. Do you remember what happened to and that was before anything even really was built. Wait till listen, markets are cyclical. I don't care if it's a new market, old market, new projects, great, same metas, always. You realize that once you got time in. That gaming meta is gonna come back. And when it comes back in a bull market with real teams that have real shit in their shit together, that's crazy. I'm just getting more, like I said, try not to be uber bullish, but I love I'm the type of guy that pulls alpha out of a regular conversation when people don't even realize they're giving it to me. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. So that's awesome.
The game has never run smoother than it does right now. It's actually incredibly fun to play. It's very seamless. Like, dude, I that April to when we were in Mexico timeframe, so like what, July or something like that.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, the game was not fun. I've already said it multiple times. The game wasn't fun. It was too much management, too much, felt like chores to get any alpha from it, or the camp price went far down. There was no demand for camp or anything like that, dude. It was down bad. But now, and I've been chilling it since 3.75. And they're at 7.9 right now. I'm telling you right now, I have never slept better than with the bags of remnants, Cyber Samurai. I do have a couple Buttheads. I have some bubblegoose. Those are like the ones that I've tucked away. I'm sleeping sound at night. I won't probably sell any of them until the next 6 months or so, depending on what the macroeconomic situation looks like, right? I mean, that's really like that would be the only thing that ruins it. But those are the ones I sleep comfy with. So, yeah, I think the plays right now, I'm chasing additions. Additions are popping right now. So I'm minting additions. There's mint season happening right now. And then I gave you my plays as far as the longer term holds go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to chase a Gen 2 as well. And I'm going to sign off right there. So, guys, do we have any closing remarks when it comes to this episode? We have talked for a while now. We are over that hour mark, but I definitely want to turn it over to you guys. If you guys have any closing remarks for the audience, let us know. I think we dropped a ton of alpha on this one as well. Always do. A lot. So, I definitely want to kick it over to you guys.
Oh, I don't have anything else, dog. I think I'm alphaed out for the day.
I'll close on this. One, I love you guys. Thank you both for everything you've done for me and for the community. I really do appreciate you guys. It's hard to find good, really just good people nowadays in this world. So when you do, you gotta hold on to that relationship and work on it. Two, I see Bruno. We didn't answer your question, so I'll answer it real quick. What Utes when reveal? Just from the theme and style of Frank's communication at this point, I would say that we still have some time, probably into October, just from how he's slowly entering himself back into the space. I don't think anything's being dropped too soon. So, yeah, I would just hold on tight to that. I know it's hard to think about, dropping 120 SOL just into the air. It's sitting right in front of you, but I do believe once they do reveal and the infrastructure comes out, it's going to run crazy before reveal. It might drop and pull back. So I would chill NFA, but yeah, I would keep that comfy in your wallet for now, Bruno.
Yep.
Thank you. That's it.
Yep. No, so I think that's it. Dorian, do you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, man, just thanks. Like having this show with you and Joe is just like, it's so fun for me. And I really hope that the audience continues to gain value from it. And I want to shout out to you guys for taking the time out of your day to join us. It means a lot to us as well. It's like, I always say, as long as one person's gaining alpha from it, I think we made a positive impact. So thank you all.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm in the same boat that, guys, your continued support means everything. Please, I'm going to go ahead and show our Twitter, our YouTube channel. We are on podcasts now as well. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify are two main platforms. If you guys have a serious necessity to go onto another platform, please let us know. But you can please subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Please retweet us on Twitter. Make sure you drop in my co-host a follow, Dorian, Joe Soul 212, and myself. It does help grow the platform tremendously so that we can continue to provide this free alpha. We're making you money, right? Like all I ask in return is continue to support us. We do appreciate it tremendously. And I think that about does it for us. So I thank you guys tons for your time. You too, myself, and the audience. Thank you for supporting us. Seriously, it means the world. So with that said, thank you for tuning in to another episode of RareFUD Radio. We actually will probably be on Thursday at a different time. I do have some Web2 business stuff to tend to. We'll keep you posted on it. If it is going to be different, it's going to be 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please, we'll keep you posted. The closing may be delayed. So, if it is at 2 p.m., I will let you guys know. But until further notice, it is likely going to be 9 a.m. So we'll see you then. But otherwise, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, Thursday. We'll see you on the next episode of RareFUD Radio.